welcome to the middle of our week, Wednesday, and giving thanks to Almighty God for all His blessings upon us as we come into the middle of the week, and hoping that we have been able to do all the necessary government-related things which were due midnight last night. Remember, rendering to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. And so we come now this morning, and we come hopefully with the intention to be at rest in the presence of the divine. Remember that these times together on mornings are really just about us encouraging each other to spend some quality time in reflection and meaningful prayer, just being attentive to the divine as we begin our day, as we roll out from our homes and we go into the world of work or the world of retirement, wherever we're going. But just having these few moments where we can just feel the divine presence, not only within ourselves, but knowing that that divine presence is in all of us, bringing all of us together, holding us and bringing us into wholeness and healing, that caring, loving experience that we are by duty bound to, in some way or another, be able to share with others as they join us through the day. And so we come into this space now as we come into a time of meditation where we want to set some aspect of ourselves aside, where we want to be present, be really present in this moment. Just breathing in and out, getting ourselves into a meditative state, into a space of deep gratitude and love. Just feeling the presence of each other, knowing that we share the same common goal, common intention, that we are here in this moment. That as we acknowledge this gift of life, we acknowledge that we are part of a greater whole. In these moments, let us imagine ourselves sinking into that whole, that wonderfully expanded presence. So oftentimes we live in this world and we can only focus on the separation, because as we look out from ourselves, we just see separate entities. And so it's important to be able to look within and see the wholeness, completeness, to acknowledge that everything is a greater whole when it's brought together. And giving thanks to be a part of that whole. In the ethereal world, there's the notion of the soul family. This journeying together, sharing experiences, learning, coming into the world and participating in each other's lives in different ways at different times. All for the purpose of advancing the whole. So we acknowledge this wholeness, and we allow ourselves to rest in that wholeness as we turn our attention to our scriptures for today. Listening to see what can be discerned here. But I say to you that listen, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who abuse you. If anyone strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also. And from anyone who takes away your coat, do not withhold even your shirt. Give to everyone who begs from you. And if anyone takes away your goods, do not ask for them again. Do to others as you would have them do to you. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. If you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. If you lend to those from whom you hope to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners to receive as much again. But love your enemies. Do good and lend, expecting nothing in return. Your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High. For He is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put in your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. Wasn't that a beautiful passage? whenever I read a passage like that, I'm so reluctant to even comment on it because it is so wide ranging and so deep. And the invitation is to come up so much higher. Passages such as the one I just shared with you, those are glimpses of true humanity. They presuppose a great deal. And I'd like to say at the outset that really and truly, such passages are basically saying, be like your Creator. Be like your Creator. It's a tall order. But it is an invitation to be who we are. For us to wake up and realize who we are. The words are beautiful words. When you listen to them from a place deep within the Father's bosom. Not when you listen to them as a separate entity, as someone fearful of life, as someone out there trying to get their own stuff. But you get this sense of this whoosh, this never-ending flow of grace emanating from the heart. Just beautiful grace, just flowing. Do good. Love your enemies. Give. Give to those who ask. And do it without attachment. Don't do it only in the places where you can get a return. Don't do it only to those persons who can give you something back. Don't love just all those who can love you. And just be as the Father, who causes the sun to shine on the righteous and the unrighteous, who is not caught up with what we do with what He gives us. He desires that we use it in a wonderful, beautiful, positive way. But at the same time, He is not bothered because however we use it, we will learn. We will learn something. So if we are treated like this, why is it that we seek to treat others differently? If God has given us what we ask for, if God has given us His love even if we're not asking for it, why is it that we must demand of others that they do this or they do that? Why is it that we must decide that this person doesn't like me, so I will not like them? You see, here is where we are being challenged daily. Are we of God? Are we seeking to identify with God? Or are we considering ourselves to just being human beings? Just out there trying to survive. Is that what we're doing with this beautiful gift that God has given us? And yes, boy, yes, we can do that with it. Because it is our free will. And the Father who gives us this life says to us that we can do whatever we want with it. We can live a life of misery if we so choose. And we can learn from that life of misery. Because whatever we do, we will learn something from it. But we can also live from an awareness of the wholeness and the oneness of the divine. And we can learn from that as well. There's choice. But all this is just drawing that picture for us of the fullness of the divine and the way God's grace flows out into creation and continues to flow out into creation, and how it flows through me and through you. Whether or not we perceive ourselves as conveyors of that grace, we're receiving it. We can color it. We can bend it, we can shape it to go in directions that we want it to go, to serve our agenda. But when we do that, we limit it. And even though for the time it may be perceived that we're getting what we want, the fact is that we're limiting it. And whenever you limit something, it means that you don't allow it to deliver all that it can. So we walk through the city and someone asks us for something. And we struggle to decide whether to give them or not, whether they're going to go and buy drugs or whatever. There's an interesting thing that is happening in our world. And persons are actually sharing it, and it is speaking volumes to us. I don't know if you have seen them, but sometimes you get all caught up in some of these little short videos on TikTok or one of those other ones. And you see persons pretend to be homeless. And they go up to persons and they ask them for $1. And sometimes individuals sneer at them and move on. And then somebody stops and they give them $1 or they give them some food. And the person would ask, why did you do that? And the individual would say something like, well, you needed it. And I had it so I could give it to you. And then the person would take out a couple of thousands of dollars or whatever and just hand it to the person. The person is awed Because obviously they wouldn't expect to get $1,000 from a beggar. And they didn't do it for the $1,000. But I remember one evening, a lady was coming out of a supermarket, and this guy, he'd ask her if she would buy something for him. And she basically told him to get lost, go away. And then he asked another person, and the person did. And he gave the person a whole host of money. And the other lady who sneered at him was still nearby, and she saw what was happening. And she wheeled her cart back and said, what else do you want? What else do you want? What else can I get for you? The motivation there clearly was not because she had it. The motivation there was, you gave somebody some money. Let me do something like that for you, and so you can give me some money. It's interesting how these young folks are sending these powerful messages to the world, because they go right across the world. The way our world is organized with the technology, things don't stay in your neighborhood anymore. They go right across the world. And so these youngsters are sending us these simple but profound messages. I'm not telling you to go and give somebody now because it may be some person with $1,000. No, because then you will be just like that lady in the supermarket. But I'm saying that the message I believe that these youngsters are trying to share is, if you have it and someone asks for it, can't you give them? It's not in your place to decide what they do with it. Yet you will say it's your money, but then is it? Is it really your money? Can you determine how much it is valued or not valued? Do you have any say in it? Or is it just passing through your hands? And what is happening is that as it is passing through your hands, you want to get everything you possibly can get out of it before you let it go. So the mere idea of letting it go to someone who isn't going to give you anything, that's horrifying. And so we create all manner of stories. And yes, some of the stories may be valid. Yes, some of the guys may actually go and buy drugs. But you've responded to human need. You've responded in love. And you never know what an act of kindness can do to a person who is in a bad place. You know, I recall in one of those videos, the guy actually went to a homeless man sitting on the pavement. And he said to the man, I've got $2 and I need $1 to get something to eat. And this homeless man sitting on the pavement in rags searched in his pocket, found the dollar, and gave the man the dollar. He only had $1. And he didn't wonder whether or not this man was going to spend his dollar buying drugs. He just saw another soul in need. And yes, the guy gave him a whole host of money and he almost died. But a homeless person searching for $1 to give to another homeless person. He shames us all. He really does. The grace. Friends, are we really ready for this Jesus path? 2,000 years later, have we got it as yet? I'm not sure we have. I'm really not sure that we have. We talk about it, but I'm not sure we've got it. But it is there. It is right there for us to embrace. Do good. Love without expectation. Give without any kind of requirements. Good measure, shaken, pressed down, will be placed in your lap. Perhaps that's what the youngsters are trying to share with their videos. That when you do good and you give, God gives.